I'll start with a sound, not a scream, not a door slam. A sound so small you'd miss it if you weren't listening for it. The soft tick of a watch on my wrist. That watch used to be my son's. Jordan gave it to me the night before he left for Los Angeles. He was 21, full of big talk and bright eyes. He said, "Dad, keep this for me. I'll come back for it after I make it." I told him to keep it, but he pressed it into my hand anyway, like he was storing his promise somewhere safe. I took the watch, and I believed him. Because believing your kid is what fathers do, even when the world calls it foolish. Years later, the watch is still with me, ticking like a stubborn heart. I run a small repair shop in Columbus, Hart & Sons Repair, a name I painted on the window myself back when the idea of my boy working beside me felt like a sure thing. I fix old radios, cracked iPhones, clocks that swallow Mondays and spit out Fridays. Folks in the neighborhood come in for batteries and stories. I give them both. The store smells like coffee and metal dust. The floor creaks, the bell over the door stutters, and every surface holds the kind of quiet only old things know. Jordan didn't want that life. He was a dreamer with a camera and a notebook full of scenes. He filmed high school football games, then weddings, then a tiny music video that somehow got 10,000 views. He used to make our backyard look like a movie set. Sheets for backdrops, desk lamps for sunrise, my toolbox standing in for a tripod. He'd show me the shot and say, "See, Dad? When you frame a story, even a little porch can feel like a cathedral." I didn't always get it, but I loved the way he believed. Then Los Angeles called. He went, he couch surfed. He PA'd on sets where nobody remembered his name, but everybody needed coffee. He learned to talk fast and move faster. He started sending quick texts instead of long calls. "All good, Dad. Big things coming." Sometimes he posted photos with people who had blue check marks and teeth too white to be real. He looked different. Not bad, just edited. I kept the shop running. Paid the rent. Repaired a grandfather clock from 1912 that took me months to coax back to life. I put aside a small stack of cash each week with a rubber band around it. I told myself I was saving for new tools, but I think I was saving for him, for flights, for emergencies, for whatever fathers are always saving for without saying so out loud. He came home on Thanksgiving 3 years into LA. He hugged me like he meant it, but his eyes were busy. He wore a jacket that cost more than my whole workbench. He had a woman with him, Alyssa, marketing director. Perfect hair, an easy smile that never reached her eyes. She talked like a pitch deck. Content, community, scale. I didn't trust any of those words, but Jordan looked proud. I sat quiet and listened. They had a plan, he said. A streaming platform for independent filmmakers. A home for people like me, he told me. No more waiting for gatekeepers. We'll be our own gate. He said investors were interested. He said they had momentum. He said a lot of things that started with "we" and ended with "soon." I nodded. I asked the boring dad questions. What's the burn rate? Who's your lawyer? What happens if your runway shortens? He waved all of it away. Dad, you worry too much. I've heard that line my whole life, usually from people who should have worried more. December was quiet after they left. The shop does slow business in winter, and the cold slips under the door like a stray. I keep a heater by my feet and work with fingerless gloves. I set Jordan's watch on the counter near the register. You'd be amazed how many folks tell their life stories while they wait for a screen protector. People want to be heard. It's that simple. I heard a lot that month, but nothing prepared me for what I was about to hear from my own son. In January, Jordan called. Not text, call. That alone made me sit up. "Dad, quick update," he said, the city noise biting at the edges of his voice. "We're almost there. One investor wants proof of stability. They want to know we can cover short-term operating costs while the platform launches." "How much is short-term?" I asked. "Peanuts," he said. 60 days. Bridge capital. They'll reimburse once the first round closes. "Jordan," I said, slow and careful, "you have a lawyer, right?" "Of course," he said. "Alyssa's on it." Silence breathed between us. "You're not asking me for money," I said. He laughed. "No, Dad, I'd never. I just wanted you to know it's big. And I might put the Heart and Son story into our launch video, like this idea that stories come from real places, real people. Use whatever you want, I said. But remember who you are when the lights feel hot. He went quiet. Yeah, I will. 2 weeks later, an envelope arrived from a bank I didn't use. Heart and Sons, LLC, it said. Inside was a notice about a line of credit. It congratulated me on my approval and reminded me of my payment schedule. It had a number with too many zeros and an interest rate that made my stomach stiffen. It had my name. It had my shop's name. It had a signature that looked a lot like mine. I didn't move for a full minute. The heater hummed. The streetlight clicked on outside, though it was only 3 p.m. in January and the sky gets tired early. I called the number. The woman on the line was kind in that trained way. She said, "Yes, Mr. Hart, we have your documents." She described them in detail: application, business plan, personal guarantee. My voice wobbled when I told her it wasn't me. She softened. "We should probably pause the line and start a review." I thanked her. I set the phone down. I watched my hand. It wasn't shaking. It just didn't feel like mine. I called my son. He answered on the 3rd ring. "Did you use my name?" I asked. "Dad, let me explain. Explain. It's not what you think. It's temporary. We needed a signature for the bridge. It's only 60 days. We're going to close the round. This investor wants..." "You forged my signature, Jordan." He inhaled. "Alyssa said it was fine. Technically, you're an owner. The shop is an asset. It's family. We're family. I never gave you permission," I said. "Dad, please. If this works, everything changes. We'll pay it back with interest. You'll be proud. The platform is going to put people like me on the map. We'll name a grant after you, the Heart Fund." "It's theft," I said. "It's business," he said. In the background, I heard a door open and the faint click of heels. "Hey, Joe, we good for the deck?" "Alyssa." "Dad, I have to go into a pitch. Please don't overreact." "You have 60 days, I said. "Thank you, Dad. I knew you'd understand." I didn't say I understand. I said you have 60 days. After that, I made a decision. I wasn't going to yell or threaten. I was going to document. I called an old friend, Tom Keegan, an ex-producer. He told me about Alyssa, how she'd run the same scam on others. They built fake startups, collected investor money, and vanished. And now she was using my son as bait. I pulled every public record I could find. Novaview, Silverwing Media, Beacon Lens, all tied to her. My son's name appeared in filings. He wasn't just a victim. He was a pawn. I went to the bank, spoke with a manager named Miss Daniels. I laid out everything. She opened a fraud review, promised to help. That night, my phone rang. Alyssa. Her voice was sugar over steel. "Mr. Hart, if you love your son, stop digging." She hung up. That's when I knew I was close. So I kept digging. Tom sent me leaked emails between Alyssa and an investor. She was already planning to rebrand under a new name, Heartstream, using my story, my shop, my name. My son was the face. The tagline read, "The father fixed clocks. The son will fix storytelling." She was turning us into her marketing strategy. I called Miss Daniels. "If I prove fraud, can we cancel the loan?" She said yes, if the evidence was solid. That's when I made my move. I told Tom to set up a meeting. I'd pose as an investor interested in Novaview. 2 days later, I was sitting in a glass restaurant overlooking Los Angeles. Alyssa walked in first. Jordan followed, confident but tired. I introduced myself as Robert Hale, an investor from the Midwest. Alyssa smiled like she'd already won. She started her pitch. Every slide used my shop, my name, my life. When she said, "The Hart family story gives our platform its emotional backbone," I leaned forward. "That's interesting," I said, "because I am Robert Hart, the man whose name you forged." She froze. Jordan's face went pale. I pulled out the folder, emails, bank records, proof of fraud. "You built your brand on my life," I said. "But you forgot one thing. People like me fix what's broken." Security came. Voices rose. But the truth was already out. By the next morning, Novaview was on every business news feed. CEO accused of investor fraud. Jordan wasn't named as a suspect, but he was finished. He called me that night crying. "Dad, I didn't know." "I believe you," I said, "but you should have." "I lost everything," he said. "No," I told him. You lost what wasn't real. A week later, he came home. No fancy jacket, no investors, just my son again. The bell above the door jingled when he walked in. I was fixing a clock. He stood quietly. "Is that my watch?" he asked. "Ours," I said. "Can I help?" he asked. I handed him the screwdriver. He sat beside me, and we worked in silence. The clock ticked between us, steady and honest. The 60 days were over. He started coming to the shop every day after that. Cleaning counters, fixing small things. I didn't ask questions. One day he said, "I thought I was buying time." I said, "No, son. You were selling it. When you sell your integrity, you sell your time. Every lie costs you hours you can't get back." He nodded. "Then I'll start fixing it." I told him forgiveness isn't a moment, it's maintenance. You have to keep tuning it every day, or it falls out of sync. Months passed. The lawsuits destroyed Alyssa's empire. Investors turned on her. My name was cleared. And then, one afternoon, I got a package in the mail. Inside was a note from Jordan. "Dad, I made this film. Not to sell, just to tell the truth. It's called The Man Who Bought Time." I plugged in the flash drive. The film opened with shots of the shop, my hands fixing clocks, light falling through dust. His voice spoke softly over it. My father didn't punish me. He made me wait. He let time show me what I'd done. And when the ticking finally stopped, I understood what love really was. When the screen went black, I sat alone in the shop. The only sound was that same watch ticking. It didn't sound like a countdown anymore. It sounded like peace. I smiled because that sound meant both the watch and the boy were still running. Betrayal cuts deep. It makes you want to break everything. But revenge built on anger burns out fast. Revenge built on truth? That one lasts. I didn't ruin Alyssa. Time did. I didn't destroy my son. I let him face himself. Sometimes the hardest part of love is letting someone suffer just enough to learn without letting them drown. So if you've ever been betrayed, remember this. You don't have to fight fire with fire. You can fight it with patience. Because nothing exposes a lie faster than time. I still wear that same watch. It doesn't tick as loud anymore, but maybe that's a good thing. Because the quieter it gets, the more I can hear the sound of peace.